What is up, guys? This is the Zootuber, and today I am back with yet another discussion-type topic for The Walking Dead Season 6. And in this video, I'd like to discuss what Deanna's death means for the characters that she most affected, meaning, Rick, Michonne, Maggie, for example. Those are the three characters that she really connected with throughout her limited time on the show. Now, as you guys know, she kind of filled in, at least for a little bit, she filled in kind of the Herschel Dale-esque role on the show. She was the wise, older character who had a lot of life experience, and although they may have been holding on to a way of life that wasn't necessarily going to work in today's world for the most part, they still had a big heart, and they knew how to connect with people, and they knew how to read people. And I think Dale, Herschel, and Deanna all embodied those things in their own different ways. I mean, some of them were, more adept to surviving than the others, but that's besides the point. She really filled in that kind of role. She wasn't necessarily the moral compass, but she definitely had qualities of the moral compass. And she had a very, very big effect on the three characters I mentioned, Rick, Michonne, and Maggie. And obviously she had a connection with Spencer and all that, but I'm not really going to include him in this video. So let's just start with Rick Grimes. And as you guys know, Rick was arriving at Alexandria. He was still in a very guarded state. He was still very animalistic because they had just been out on the road for several months. Obviously, his beard was at maximum bushiness, and he was a savage. They were all savages out there, or at least they appeared to be savages to the Alexandrians. But Deanna was able to read Rick through her interviews and see that this man has good inside him. He's not a bad man. He's lost a lot of his humanity based on the things that he's had to experience. He still has his humanity, but he's lost a lot of it, or he's gotten colder. And she sees that, and I think she sees each of these characters as a project she can take on and bring them back into civilization, so to speak. And she did that with Rick to an extent. Obviously, we all know why Rick is how he is, and I think most of us can accept that because of what he's been through. And I think that he still has a lot of good in him. He knows what needs to be done, so he has to be able to flip that switch whenever he needs to and protect his family, whether it's his group or his immediate family between Carl and Judith. Now, she was able to see that the good behind him, and she really brought him back slowly but surely. There was a couple arguments they had back and forth, and of course, she doubted his being able to be in the community between episodes 515 and 516. But then through season 6, even more so, since we got more time with them together, we see that Deanna was really trying to assimilate Rick as their leader, because she knows, especially at the end of episode 5 and then in 8, that Rick really is the guy who should be leading these people. She knows that she could lead them, but she also understands that they need someone like Rick to keep them alive, because she knows, at that point she doesn't know what the world's like out there. She was slowly learning it thanks to Rick and company, but she needed someone to guide her people so they wouldn't keep dying all the time. And I think she recognized that. And had she not have died, I think there would have been a really great dynamic between the two characters, where they both co-led, where Deanna was more the diplomatic character, where she dealt with the people and things like that, and she kind of had like the friendlier attitude, and Rick was the guy who, he told them the cold, hard truth, good cop, bad cop. They're both there for the greater good, but, there's got to be some balance between the two. And I think that was a really good dynamic there. And I liked Deanna. I think she went too soon, but I do think her death and her basically giving Rick the keys to Alexandria, in a sense, will definitely come into play in the second half of season 6. I don't think we'll see any legitimate uprising against Rick. I know we got a couple little just minor instances of that with a couple of the Alexandrians in season 5, and then with Ethan Embry's character Carter in the premiere episode, but nothing that really amounted to much. And I mean, obviously, when people find out Deanna's dead and Rick is now in charge, that was like one of her dying wishes. I don't know if there'll be some hostility towards him or not. I don't really think they'll still be tugging on that rope, so to speak. But we'll have to wait and see about that. But I do think she says, these are your people, and he says, we haven't had time to make it into that yet. I think it will be his mission or his goal for that to happen in the second half of season 6. But we'll have to wait and see how it plays out, since I really don't know. I'm just assuming they'll go this route. In terms of Maggie, that's another obvious one. Maggie was basically Deanna's protege throughout, the last few episodes of season 5, and then in season 6. And Deanna was really trusting of Maggie, helping her become more of a politician, which is cool because that's basically I'm thinking Deanna's teachings to Maggie of helping her with running things, planning things, being a politician more or less, will help her should they give her comic book storyline where she leads the Hilltop later on in a few seasons down the road. Because in the comic she takes control of the Hilltop, and she's basically like a little Deanna, so to speak, or she becomes the Deanna of the Hilltop, if that makes sense. So this will having the scenes with Deanna and Maggie can realistically transition Maggie into that leadership role that she'll need to be at to become a realistic leader of the Hilltop. So that's pretty self-explanatory there. There wasn't too much else we can take from their relationship other than that Deanna was training Maggie to become more of a leader and help her with the planning of things for the expansion and all that. And then our latest connection that we got mainly in the season 6 mid-season finale was between Deanna and Michonne. And they had a couple different really heartfelt moments in this episode that, you can argue whether or not they were necessary or not, but I think they were really well written and they were touching, and I think Deanna her death is going to affect Michonne, maybe not severely, but I think it's definitely going to have Michonne think about a lot of things, because Deanna said, what do you want? You need to figure that out. And I think that's really going to send Michonne on a different path than she may have been going on prior, where she's really going to have to figure out what she wants for the community and what she wants for her personally. And I could see them even going the route where when Maggie becomes leader of the Hilltop, Michonne takes over kind of a planning type role in the community of Alexandria, because Maggie won't be doing both, So the plan, because we see that Deanna gives the plans to Michonne. So I got a feeling though that will come into play, and Michonne will be in charge of making sure Deanna's dream for Alexandria will be realized, and then obviously Rick will be, technically still the leader, but obviously him and Michonne have that dynamic between the two of them where they're both kind of co-leaders. They check each other, and then Maggie will go on to lead the Hilltop. So that's just my thoughts on where her character and how it impacted the group. I was talking to my friend the other day, and I said her character's death was basically like an EMP grenade, so to speak. It went off when she died, or when she was dying, and then it sent ripples through the surrounding characters, and it impacted them. It's probably the weirdest example that I probably could have said, but it made sense in my head. We'll see if you guys agree with that. But either way, there's no doubt that she impacted all three of those characters in a pretty big way. And she impacted everyone. I don't think anyone really had a problem with Deanna in terms of characters or even us fans. But that's just me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And if you wish to stay up to date, I'd also subscribe. You don't have to, obviously, but it would help out the channel, and it'd make me feel good. But have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll be back at you guys later.